pretty exciting. I'm running on adrenaline now, so I can't feel anything, but I'm really excited.
Yeah. Well, I totally admire you, and so I kind of want to know, I know the card's going to be great, but how many pay-per-view fights have you been involved with in your career?
Well, God, I can't even count. The first one was when Holyfield beat Douglas. Then HBO started a company called TVKO, and the original partners were Main Events, Top Rank, and HBO. So during the time TVKO, from the time it began, for the next, 5-10 years or whatever, we promoted an awful lot of pay-per-view fights. I can't count them. Holyfield fought on pay-per-view all the time, and after him, Lennox Lewis fought on pay-per-view all the time. We had some big ones with Whitaker. Just to count, I don't even think I can do that off the top of my head. We also did some with Vargas, Fernando Vargas when he fought De La Hoya, when he fought Tito, a few others, Mayorga. He had quite a few actually.
We had Pernell Whitaker on yesterday, and he was giving us some really funny stories. How back in the day, he said that he would save the company, that he would save Main Events. Always. Whenever we would have a couple bad losses, whatever, he would just come around, he'd put his arm around us and go, "Don't worry, I'm going to save." He'd say, "I'd save the family." That's what he would say. "I'm going to save the family." And every time something went wrong, you just come over, "Don't worry, I'm going to save the family." And he always did. Talking about family, so this is a bit of a family affair. I was reading that you've been really mentoring your daughter, Nicole, to maybe one day take over the company, and you compared her to be more like her father than you.
Oh, she's a carbon copy, and actually, sometimes I feel like she's mentoring me now. So I'm just going with it. It's my comfortable place. Yeah. I am not this assertive, take charge person at all. She is, and when I try to be something I'm not, it doesn't work out. So I find that I'm better at being more on the creative side of it. Creating the storylines, talking about, finding business in the future. I'm always thinking 3, 4, 5 years ahead. And I have the luxury of being able to do that now because she is keeping her eye on the present. And what I used to have to do with the marketing, worrying about every little thing that's happening and going on, I don't even have to think about it anymore. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, and she's so great at it. Another family affair is over at Roc Nation. Who's over there? Dino Duva. He is your brother-in-law.
Yes.
And he works at Roc Nation. What does he do over there for them?
He is like their, I don't know his title actually, but he's like their boxing guy. They have a lot of people that work on boxing, but he's the one who knows about it.
So, are you guys having Thanksgiving dinner next week together? Has there been like a rivalry? Are you guys at all?
No, what happened was when my husband passed away, I inherited his family's business. Not a good thing to do. Give people advice. And so there were a lot of very difficult times. And in the end, it came down to either I was going to take it out on my own or they were going to take it. And in the end, I took it. So we haven't worked together in any capacity in probably 15 years. We haven't had Thanksgiving dinner together or anything. We see each other at family functions, at weddings and funerals and that sort of thing, picnics every now and then, but it's not like it was. My children have more of a relationship with them. But this is the first time Dino and I have worked together in any capacity in many, many years, and kind of opposite each other more than together.
Wow. I want to just frankly ask you, I've heard in the past, Golden Boy worked with Roc Nation on Cotto Canelo. I know that Top Rank has tried to make fights with Roc Nation, and they've all seemed to just have such difficult times working with them. And I know they're a new company, and they're trying to change the game and the landscape of boxing. But how's it been for you guys working with them on this event?
Oh,
I have some quotes
Michelle.
here from Jolene that I could read. Jolene said, "They are crazy. They are sick. Horrible."
I'll just go with challenging.
All right.
Not want to bite her tongue, Jolene.
Right.
No.
So there is a rematch clause. Kovalev, Ward, Kovalev has a rematch clause. I read that you said if Kovalev were to lose, God forbid, that he would absolutely want to exercise the rematch clause. You were saying that Andre Ward, it's a little more difficult. So what did you mean by that? If Ward loses...
it's a little more complicated. If it's in the situation, Sergey's got the title, so of course we have that right to get that rematch. That was part of what we bargained for when we made the deal.
as far as the Ward side said, well, if this is a great fight and we want to do it again, we want to have the right to do it again too. So we said, okay, you know what we're going to do? Each one of us can call for a rematch if we want to. I can tell you unequivocally, if Sergey were to not be successful tomorrow night, of course he's going to want his title back. I can't tell you what the other side would feel like if it worked the other way. So that's why it's a little tricky.
So let's talk a little bit about the card then. So we know the main event is phenomenal. Any other fight on there that is really intriguing to you that you want people to really tune in to watch, whether it's on the free telecast or whether it's on the pay-per-view telecast?
Well, I'm more familiar with the pay-per-view telecast because I don't have any of the fighters on the free telecast. You got to talk to Roc Nation about that, but no, it's fine. It's kind of weird. We've got this kind of balkanized promotion. They're kind of running their promotion. We're running ours, but it works. We of course have Curtis Stevens on the card, and it's always worth watching Curtis.
It's always a treat.
Always a treat. He's fighting James De La Rosa. That just has car wreck written all over it. So I really think that's a fight people will want to see. Curtis he's been working with John David Jackson. He's given him a whole new life. You saw when he fought Patrick Teixeira how dynamic he was. And the most amazing thing was he didn't knock him out with his left hand. He knocked him out with his right.
Yeah.
That's a whole new wrinkle to Curtis's game, which has made me so happy to see. And so we're gonna get another treat with Curtis, and if he's successful, we really want to get him into that mix at middleweight again because he deserves another title shot if he does.
Speaking of which, we had Curtis on with us yesterday or day before yesterday. He said he's looking at this as the road back to Golovkin. What are your thoughts on this potentially being the road back to Golovkin for Curtis Stevens?
Well, I think it's going to be a bit of a long road. He's going to have to win some other kind of signature fight, shall we call it, to get there.
Yeah.
But if he does that, then absolutely, because this is a new man. And I love the fact that he wants the challenge. Most people don't want to fight Golovkin. All we hear about is how nobody will fight him. So if Curtis gets a couple of really significant wins, who knows? Of course, we'll try.
And I feel like this is his road to Canelo. I mean, he said Golovkin, and I get it. I get why he would say that because nobody wants to fight Golovkin anyway. And he's like, shoot, I'll fight him again. But I feel like this is his road to Canelo. I mean, I feel like if he can finally get that Lemieux fight for whatever reason, I feel like
and I think when I talk about a signature win, that road, I think Canelo's on it, absolutely on the way. The only road to Golovkin, you're correct, would run through a fight like that.
Yeah.
So we're working on it, and he needs to look really impressive tomorrow.
I think what you guys did yesterday or the day before was really clever. You did the first ever trainer debate.
Actually, it was the second.
Was it? Who was the first?
The first one was Angelo Dundee and Emmanuel Stewart when
that's
Leonard
why I love
fought
her.
Hearns, and it was my idea. So we're all sitting there going, okay, it's been like how many years? 35 years. We can pull this one out of our ass again. Why not? Nobody,
was perfect.
Nobody remembers, but I apparently am the only one. Everybody else is dead. So so we figured we'll try it again because we had this really good mix of personality where you could do it. I mean, in all these years, I never suggested doing it again, but this was the one where this one's perfect.
There's some genuine animosity there,
Yes.
And maybe a little jealousy and all, but John David Jackson. So I was reading a lot online that Abel Sanchez has been taking a lot of credit for making, Kovalev who he is, and I'm just like, I never remembered Abel being in any Kovalev corner. So how long did Abel have Sergey?
Well, it wasn't a very long time. The last time he worked with Abel was in 2011. So, and he turned pro in 2009, and I'm not sure if Abel was with him from the start. It was a brief time. Sergey came into his camp truly as Golovkin's sparring partner. That was the reason he was there, as far as Abel was concerned. Sergey was there because he was sure he was going to be a champion of the world, and he wanted to be treated like one. And there's those stories out there about the sparring sessions between them and, who knocked who down and what happened. And Sergey was an 8-round fighter at the time, and Golovkin was getting ready to go defend his world title.
Yeah.
Sergey just got back from a long layoff. It was his first day in the gym. Golovkin was doing his last training session before going to fight.
Yeah.
And he knocked the wind out of Sergey, and Sergey just said, do I get up and beat up my friend before he goes to fight, or do I just walk away? And so he walked away.
Yeah, interesting.
But that's the truth of that rumor, and it's okay. The beauty of this is that if anybody doubts that Sergey knows how to fight with a heavy-handed puncher, the reason Abel wanted him there was because he was the only guy who can hang in there with Golovkin, and that's when he was an 8-round fighter.
In your history of working within boxing, fans nowadays love these urban legends. So-and-so knocked out so-and-so when they were sparring, were they in camp? Has that always been fodder for discussion? People, oh, I heard that this fighter knocked out this fighter when they were in camp together. Or is this just a new thing for fans to keep stoking the interest?
Those legends have always been out there. The general rule in the old days was what happens in the gym stays in the gym, which I think it should.
Yeah.
Because it's practice. And when people bring us
Etiquette.
fighters, we have sort of I don't know, what do we want to call it? Everyone in our office has our ears up. The second somebody brings a fighter to us and says, let me tell you about the guy he knocked out in the gym, or let me tell you about the world champion who doesn't want to spar with him, we turn off.
Right.
Because the truth is that if you're sparring with the world champion, you're not in there to prove you're better than him. You're not in there to if the champion, if he sees a guy coming to tear his head off in practice, he should walk away.
Yeah.
That's not what this is about.
To get work.
Evander Holyfield never called it training, he called it practice. And that's what it is. And so to go out and practice with someone and try to beat them up, it's foolish. Why don't you learn something from the person? Why don't you go in there and see what this person has to give you? Gym wars, all they do is cut your career short. And I've seen a real tendency there's a certain kind of guy out there who wins the gym wars, but somehow doesn't win when he's in the ring. And that is a very common phenomenon.
You brought up Holyfield, so I have to bring up Don Turner. So I heard, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, that Kovalev had a really hard time signing with someone, with a promoter.
Oh, yeah.
And Don Turner told him, call Kathy Duva.
He did.
Is that for real?
Don called me.
Yeah?
And said, there's this fighter I need you to look at. And he's never in his life called. I've known Don Turner since Holyfield was fighting. He's like the grandfather I never had, And I told Don, whenever you put your arm around me when I see you, it's the only time I ever feel safe.
Aww.
But he's wonderful. But he's never called up and said, I've got a fighter for you. So when Don Turner calls up and says, you have to sign this guy, you pay attention.
Yeah.
So Jolene and I went and met Agus, Sergey's manager, at Don's suggestion, and he said, I've got this guy, and I've invested so much money in him, and I have such belief in him, and I know this guy's going to be champion if somebody give him a chance. Would you just put him on a card and take a look at him? I said, of course. Happily, we had the NBC series then. We had the platform to do that. Jolene said, I'm going to put him in with Darnell Boone.
The rematch?
Because she said he fought a 1-point split decision with this guy. We will be able to tell if he improved, because if he's on a level of Darnell Boone, no offense to Darnell, but where's he going?
Yeah.
So you saw what he did, obliterated him in 2 rounds, and that was it. The moment I laid eyes on him, I knew it. And what a wonderful thing. This guy from complete obscurity to where he is in just 4 years, which is, we said to him, you just got to win the fights. You win the fights, we'll get you there. And he wins the fights.
Well, he's been exciting in boxing for
yeah.
sure. John David Jackson says that Andre Ward has 3 weeknesses, but he won't say what
they
those
are.
3
He
are.
won't tell
Can
me
you
either.
guess?
No, I have no idea. I'm not going to do
Nobody will tell me
that.
Ward's weaknesses.
We'll tell you tomorrow night.
All right.
Kathy, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. You're such a pioneer for women, such an inspiration.
Oh, thank you,
We
Jessica.
appreciate your contribution
You
to the
are
sport.
pioneers too.
Thank you. That's so flattering. And so we're excited for just tomorrow.
I'm-
The stare down today, it just gave me chills.
Oh, that
It
was
intense.
something. Let me tell you, I have been
trainers.
fortunate enough to be standing in the middle of a lot of good stare downs. That was
great.
primo stare down. Yeah, no, that's always a sign that something's going to happen.
Yes. All right. Thank you for coming on the
Kathy.
Morning
Always
Punching
great to
Show.
see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.